Hello again. Good day to you guys. My name is CryptoKeep, and it's been a while since I last did an analysis video. So something interesting happened today, and I just thought, okay, it's already the close of the week, but then let's just do a brief and quick analysis on Bitcoin. In my last Bitcoin analysis video, I was being a bullish, or let me say I was being a bull, where I was expecting price to come back above this very supply which we have here. And I was anticipating that prices will come into a new all-time highs and make price discovery once again. So in short, I was expecting price to rise above 60k. And that is what has happened today. Due to this last bearish engulfing candle that we have here, people were becoming very bearish on Bitcoin and were hoping that the top was in. Sorry about that. So I also were wary of the bearish engulfing. But then you just have to see what happens next to really know what is going to happen. And then when you look at the structure that it was printing is still a very bullish structure. There has been no invalidation so far, so there is no reason for me to change my bias, and that was why I didn't, even though bearish engulfing could pose a threat. So I believe you follow my analysis video from the past weeks, because everything I talk about is a continuation of everything I have talked about. So now we are back into price discovery and we are exploring untested waters once again. So what has happened in the past week was I narrowed the supply from the weekly to the daily, and then I narrowed the daily supply down to the 4-hour supply, where we have this particular supply here. But because of this little one, which I said I wasn't convinced about, but then because it happens to be a daily zone, I had to do something like this, right? So what do we see? We saw price coming into it and giving just a very weak movement, a very weak rejection from it. This was broken when I did the last analysis. This wasn't tested yet. I was expecting this particular zone here, or this particular daily zone here. If you remember, I marked the only daily zone here where I said price can come to it, this one especially. Prices come to it, but then where I will have even placed my order will have been front run. Price like front running me, I don't know why. But if you have been so lucky to use a week of this, you will have been filled in on that daily demand. So what happened was that this very 4-hour demand got stop hunted. It got stop hunted into the lower daily demand. At times, price does that. It stop hunts an upper demand into a lower demand to take the others at those lower demands and then rally. If you can spot also, I marked this as another 4-hour supply, 4-hour demand, which was quite inside the daily demand in case price wants to come lower. So what has happened was this got stop hunted and then closed back inside, which still validates that the demand head. For people who doesn't place close stop loss and they have bought here, they will still be in this trade. I was also expecting this point to hold a little and push back for another recount, but then he didn't hold until the upper supply, which gave a little reaction, and finally we have a break of that supply. So now what do we have on the daily? We have this supply zone now taken out. Let me remove this. We have this supply zone now taken out. The daily has not yet closed yet. We still have like 45 seconds to go. 22 minutes 45 seconds to go, which now nothing, I don't think BS can actually push the price back into this zone anymore today. So if this ends up closing like this, then we have a new demand zone at this point. This is quite a tricky one because at times where to start drawing your demand is easy to know, but where you end it is not easy. But if this close as it is above this supply zone, then we have bet a new demand zone. How strong this demand zone will be will depend on the next day's movement. We can have a quick retest of it and then a bounce back up. We can have a continuation of the rally and later come back to retest it. And remember, this first major supply, which I did where price was at 42,000, if you notice the demand that led to the break of that supply has not yet been retested. So we are still waiting. We have demands forming on top of demands now. We have demands here, we have demands here that has actually holding. Now we have a new demand, which is quite a good thing. Because once the market turns to the downside, we will have a break of demands, whereas new supplies will be created. But for now, we have the creation of demand zones and taking out of supply zones. So we are back into price discovery. And what is the thing we want to do when we are in price discovery? We want to find a point of resistance or a point of new supply. And how do we do that? The Fibonacci extension tool. I have showed you how to use this in my Fibonacci video. If you haven't watched that, it is highly recommended to watch Trading with Fibonacci. So we have a low coming to an high, making an higher low here, making an higher high here. And this is the last low leading to the high highs. So I take from that low and to the newly created low, leading to this very higher highs. Using the extension tool, we want a minimum of 1-to-1 movement, right? And 1-to-1 movement will be at this point, which is the 72,594 level. Let me mark that with a ray. This is the 1-to-1 level. Another level that is quite interesting is the 1.272 level, which is 80,600. So if everything goes well with Bitcoin, we are likely to see that 80,000 price line right now, either in the next coming days or in the next coming weeks. We can't tell how parabolic Bitcoin will go. It might choose to retrace a little, find support or demand again, and then rally back up. It can also continue to keep going like it did here, slow rise before it found supply or resistance at that top, created a supply and come back down. So that is the Fibonacci extension to not retracement now. And also we have the 1.618 level, which should be the third target for this particular swing that we are on to right now. The first 1-to-1 level, 1.2 level, and 1.6 level, which is 90,000. Now, if we have 90,000 in view, does this mean we should be high 100k? It's possible. I think I'm starting to believe if Bitcoin can actually come to 61,000 in this very little time, all the way from 14,000 in, was it November or December? It's actually very bullish. Anything is doable. And the influence, the inflow of institutional buyers into buying Bitcoins at these levels, this expensive level. What is expensive to me might be cheap to others. We have different way of evaluating things. Evaluating values. So if they think Bitcoin is worth it at 40,000 and they keep buying even into 50,000, then there is a lot of things we retail traders do not know about. There is a lot of things we do not know about. So looking at the first target, which is 72,000, second target 80,000, third target 90,000. But then, like I always say, there are stumbling blocks along the way. It never moves in a straight line, right? So if we are to identify those stumbling blocks or those points of little resistance, those will be the points we are right now. That is a 0.618 level, 61,289 level, then the 0.705 level, which is the 63,800 or 64,000 in short, and then this particular level, which is the 66,261 level. Any of these can offer many resistance, which means it can push price back down a little for you to find demand or support and then continue its journey back up. But the very good thing now is we have a break of structure to the upside. At this point, we have a break of structure to the upside. We do not just have all-time highs alone. We do not just have price discovery alone. We have a break of structure, which is very important. And for us to have a break of continuation structure to the upside, we have a new invalidation level. And the invalidation level is no longer at this 28.8 level, but at these particular levels now, where we have also a demand. If you were to be using the open of this particular reddish candle here, I don't know if this enlightening things lets you see, but then this particular candle, the red candle, let me change this to narrow and see if it's better. It's the same thing. So if you are to be using the open of that candle, you wouldn't be filled. So the demand is still not tested, but then the zone, the area is tested using the wick. So the only thing we may have is a deeper test into it in case price comes down. So you expect that demand level to hold. Again, we have a little point of resistance here where I have, let me extend this line now, where I have this, we have a little point of resistance there, where we have resistance at this point, resistance at this point. This is why I say that supply and demand give rise to support and resistance. This was a point of supply initially, and now after it has broken, we are seeing it now as a point of resistance because it has resisted price from going up twice. And what will you naturally expect when price come back to this particular zone here? You want it to find support. So if price breaks this demand zone, you want it to find support at this particular level. And if you couldn't find support, then you want a lower level, which is at this daily levels. Some people will even take this whole zone like this as their demand, from this top to this bottom as their demand. The point is to get filled. You don't want to miss trades, right? So you scale your entries from the top until it gets to the invalidation level where you have your stop loss. So that is the point. So however anyone chooses to trade, it's no problem, but choose to trade the right levels. Do not say, okay, because price is running high now, you just want to buy blindly, taking it to continue going to the upside. We never can tell if price will choose to come and retest this first before continuing, or it will continue before coming to retest it, but definitely it will come for the retest. So we have the highs broken and we have our invalidation level at this low. Once this low breaks, then my buyers will turn bearish. That is it. Why we have these targets in looks or in view, we hope it can achieve them. It doesn't mean it can't come right now to find another higher low to make another higher high. We just continue to follow the structure or whatever it does. But we do not want to see this low breaks anytime soon. So on the 4 hour, I do not know if it is virtually the same thing as it is on the daily. We have weekly momentum at the very moment. We also have a rally based rally, which is also another form of demand at this particular level on the 4 hour. But then I would like to see this candle close more bullishly than it is for me right now. But then nonetheless, we have, even here on the 4 hour, we have a demand which you can narrow to this, either like this or like this. The point is not to get stopped out while selling demand, because you can actually place a stop loss inside of demand. But this particular point, I've been doing some research. This kind of pattern here, it doesn't seem to hold well on retest. It's good when longing, but doesn't seem to hold well on retest. So right now we have some levels where price may become interesting, which is that on the 4-hour, that level, and this other daily level here, which also reflects on the 4 hours. So I don't know if I should say congratulations that we have 4 timers of Bitcoin. 100k might not be so far away anyways. If you remember last year, YFI came all of a sudden and was enough 42,000 in price, $42,000 for 1-to-1 YFI. Then I was like telling my group members that when Bitcoin starts to rally, Bitcoin is king. Everybody know Bitcoin is king, right? So if you're a king and in your community somebody is coming to show his powers, trying to be above you, what do you think will happen? The king will likely want to outperform that person. Not in a violent way, but in a way people will marvel. Now Bitcoin is showing us that it is truly the king and we are really marveling. So I think Bitcoin can actually double whatever price YFI got to last year, which was, if it was 42k, then Bitcoin might actually get to 84,000. That's just me being optimistic and hoping. It's nothing to do with TA. And I do advocate that you do not trade with hopes, you do not trade with prayers. You can enter a trade and keep praying that this reach your target. It may never reach your target. Prayer doesn't work in trading. Hoping that this will do this doesn't work in trading. All those things are emotions. Emotions doesn't play out in trading. The only time those things can play out if you become a whale. If you are a whale, you control millions of dollars or billions, like Elon Musk. Then you can actually hope that Bitcoin will get to 100k and you get to 100k because you have the money and the followers to make it happen. So I'm wrapping it up. There is nothing much to say. I don't know if I should take a quick look at BNB. BNB is still being sluggish. There is no action so much on it. But then I may expect BNB to come into this price level on the daily. This price level has been retested already. By this. We already have our 1, 2, 3 completed instruction on the 4 hours. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, and this is a 4, like this. If this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a 3, then this is coming to be a 4. Then we expect a 5, and we expect a 5 to break above these attainments as well. So, and I will be expecting it to at least come into these particular levels. I was waiting on the 4 hour for this particular trade, but I got front round once again. My order didn't fill on the 4 hour. Perfect. I was waiting at this level here, from this level on the 4 hour. But then I didn't get filled, as you can see. There was a little gap between my entry and where price actually got to. I don't know why the market like doing like that. So we have a 1, 2, 3, then this now a 4. I may still expect it to come back down into it to make a proper 4. Then 5. Not just higher above this, but high above the all-time highs. That is what I will expect on BNB. It's actually looking very good. Now let me take a quick look at ETH. ETH. It's been a long time since I've never even traded ETH, not ever, not once. I've never bought ETH. I've never done anything with ETH. Never, ever. I don't know why. I just don't feel like. So on ETH, what I'm saying is, okay, we also have this bearish engulfing on ETH as well, like we did on BTC, but we are still on the way to break it. So we do not have that break yet on ETH. Then let me go back to daily and see if I can refine it. Okay, refining this will be to these levels like this. We're actually in supply on ATH right now, but then we are also forming something interesting at the bottom here, which is we are forming demand if the price closes like this. Now, this is a supply zone. This is a forming demand zone. If this price closes like this, there is a sign that you do not want to buy into supply, because supply, especially the high time frame, can push price back to its origin. And the origin, we have a demand at the origin, which has been tested already. With this, it has been tested, and now it's pushing price into the supply. Now, what do we have? What do we have here? We have a forming demand, we have a current supply. But because price follows BTC, especially the USDT pairs, it follows whichever is moving faster. And right now, Bitcoin is moving faster than whatever BTC pairs are doing. So we have ATH USDT following it. And Bitcoin has broken above its all-time highs and above the structure, which means we expect all the other coins to do the same. If not instantly, but we expect them to do the same. Now, will you be taking this demand zone if price react from this supply zone to the downside? Personally, I wouldn't take it. If price choose to come from inside of this like this, I wouldn't take it. But what I will do is I will wait for the break of this supply first. Then any retest of this, I will long it, hoping for it to go to for more price discovery. But if price does not break this supply zone and just choose to come back immediately, it can hold definitely. But then if you want to play it, you want to play it with confirmation on lower time frames. So that is the only way you can enter, because actually you are buying into supply, which is risky. If Bitcoin falls from that particular price line it is right now, this may even fall further, which means this demand may likely break. But if Bitcoin remains above and it's not coming back down, then we may actually get a break of this. And anytime it's coming back down, we have a retest of this. Bitcoin also has its own demand that is forming at almost a exact position as ETH is, then they both rally back to the upside. Or if Bitcoin chooses to range and ETH chooses to break this and come back on its own, then fine. But if ETH returns while Bitcoin is also dropping, then this demand is not a place you may want to take. There is another one here that you may actually trade in case it returns right now. So that is it about the analysis, and whatever happens after the close of the week, I will also be back to see what is going on. So have a wonderful night, guys, and do not forget to share this channel, subscribe if you haven't, like the content if you like the content, so we can always bring more of this. If it is the explanation that is okay, like it, so we know the explanation is okay. If you do not like the explanation, dislike it, so we know the explanation is not okay. Then we find a way to up our explanation. All right, guys, so have a wonderful and blessed night. Good night.